do it live.
Animals don't get too hung up on reason. They just keep killing.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Cinematic Lounge, Halloween edition. Hello Chris, hello Maria.
Hello.
Hey guys, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Good week?
Yeah, actually pretty good week.
Nice. You pulled a hammy tonight?
I did.
Playing baseball with the kids?
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Getting old does suck.
It does.
That's for sure. All right, we're going to do another special.
We're very special these days.
I found this movie. It's been out. I'm not saying I discovered it, but I discovered it yesterday. And it's called In a Violent Nature. Mm-hmm. And the first review I went to, the guy raved about it. This guy I watch all the time. First name Ryan, I forget his last name. Got a weird accent, but the guy's great. And in a second. And it made me want to. There's one director on this set. Okay, there's one director.
He's very demanding.
I'm very. Anyway, so
He made you.
He, because I watched his thing, I really wanted to watch this film. And mainly because it seems like it's an homage to Friday the 13th and 80s slashers. So we'll get to that.
Sure.
I can't wait to hear your reactions. I know Maria's because I was sitting next to her while the movie was on. I'm not sure yours. But before we do that, as always, Maria tried to come up with a drink for this lovely movie. And what did you come up with?
Well, I wanted to do a Bloody Mary, but I didn't have time to get tomato juice. So I had this mixer already in the refrigerator, and it's called Strawberry Southside. So it's just Strawberry Southside. It's by a local company called Kane, and they use all fresh ingredients, and they have edible glitter in there.
Oh, my God.
So it's like, strawberry, so it's kind of reddish to represent the blood. And then the glitter for all the weaponry that's used.
Yes, good idea. Hold it up
go.
to the camera, and then when you put it down, tell me the ingredients.
So the ingredients are real simple. Vodka and Strawberry Southside.
That's it, huh?
That's it.
And how's it taste, you two?
It
tastes
tastes
good.
great.
Yeah.
It's a little sweet for me, but it's good.
I wish
didn't
I
add
had
too
you
much booze.
guys. You guys are amazing. You'll try any cocktail. I
like
can't. I got to really be careful with my cocktails. I don't know why. All right. So, In a Violent Nature. Like I said, an homage. Supposedly, I've watched a little bit more about this film and about the director and the vibe he was going for.
Sure.
And it seemed like it was sort of an experiment in a way to see.
Yeah.
Why don't you, Chris, I'm going to you do the plot for this one.
Okay, so the plot is it's more of an idea than a plot.
True.
It is a very basic kids/young adults in the woods, mad killer, unstoppable, literally immortal in some ways.
Right.
However, this one is truly told from the killer's perspective. You only hear snippets of conversation, oftentimes muted in their volume. And you only hear the bits and pieces of conversation when he would be close enough to actually hear the people. So I do understand what they mean by experiment. It's like he's trying to experiment with this idea of what it really would be like. Because, I've heard over time that a lot of times there are POV shots in slasher films where we're encouraged to take the perspective of the killer.
Right.
But let's face it, most slasher films start with 20 to 25 minutes of kids being kids, drinking, jerking, being asses to one another, going to a little, cabin in the woods.
A little bit of sex.
Yeah.
Some boobage.
Setting up the dynamic of who's a jerk and who's not, that kind of thing.
Right.
And then something happens and a killer is either unleashed or shows up. This one just starts with them taking a locket.
Finding a necklace.
And
in a fire tower.
In an old fire tower.
Old fire tower, which I didn't know what that was.
Finding a locket and then him just coming after them.
Okay. Right. Unstoppable coming after. He's trying to get the locket back.
We think, yeah.
Well,
he seems to. That seems to be what's drawing him. Mm-hmm.
So, came out in 2024, directed by Chris Nash. I don't know who that is.
He has a couple of other horror movies to his credit.
Really?
Yeah, I've never heard of any of them. This is obviously a very low budget, made in Ontario affair.
Yeah.
Not saying that all low budget movies are made in Ontario or
No.
all Ontario films are low budget.
I think it was shot on video. Definitely looked
Definitely
like
on video.
4:3 format.
I saw that.
Yep.
I thought that was a little strange.
Well, I mean, again, experiment, aesthetic.
Yeah.
You know, I think this movie is a vibe, is aesthetic movie, right? Yes, it is from the perspective of, and it's the unstoppable Michael Myers type,
Jason Voorhees
type. Okay, but you're right. Taken from the almost too much perspective,
Yeah.
because all the dude does is walk and walk. Part of his hunt, he just walks around, listens for sounds. And I mean, the whole thrust of the film is he's trying to find this necklace that got taken.
Right.
Because supposedly his father gave it to him to remember his mother. That's the necklace that keeps him dead underground. Okay, so the backstory is little Johnny, years ago, his name was Johnny. His father was a logger who had a store that was his stuff was overpriced. The loggers were pissed off, didn't like the father. Stepped on a one of the kids' toy cars, gets upset about that, convinces Johnny to go up to the fire tower to play with toys. They have toys up there for him.
Yeah.
Guy's going to jump out with a old-timey fire mask
Yep.
and scares the kid. Kid falls off the tower, breaks his neck. He's dead.
Right.
So they tell us in the backstory, the kids all sit around and tell this ghost story. Obnoxious kids, all of them.
Every last one of them.
Terrible dialogue about cancer culture and this and penis size with the rings, all this crap. You want these kids to.
Oh yeah,
I think the purpose is you want.
Yeah,
them
you're
to
waiting
die.
for them to get killed.
So the idea is that this Johnny, if the necklace is taken or something, he will attack the village. Like he's attacked the village a couple of times already.
So he died.
He died
And
broke his neck.
And then the whole thing is that the dad knew who had done it. He knew it was the loggers or whatever. And he killed like one logger. So at first it's like, oh, this isn't really a scary story. And then 10 days later, all the loggers were
All
dead.
wiped out.
All wiped out. And the insinuation is that Johnny somehow became back alive and whatever.
And it looked like a wild
Right.
animal killing.
Right.
And the logging company said it was poisoned meat, paid
Right,
off
and
the village,
paid off
whoever was
everybody.
left, but everybody was
Yeah.
dead anyway. It didn't matter. So I guess, and one of the rangers escaped that rampage, and he ends up having a son who becomes a ranger at the park now. This is
Right.
what we walk into. But really, this movie is just, I mean, so the Ryan review that I watched
Right.
was about how this Johnny character, this monster that's been created, is nature personified. And that at any moment, nature is going to take you out, could take you out for no reason, could
Sure.
be anything. You know, you could be standing there, a cliff fall, whatever. Nature's always going to win. And it's arbitrary. Except it really isn't in this movie,
No.
because it's all based on the fact that the kid stole the necklace.
Yep.
And his whole hunt is to find this necklace. I mean, he's a lurching, dead zombie person.
Yeah.
But he was smart enough to see a kid put the necklace in his pocket. So after he kills that kid, he's searching the pocket for that. And ultimately, he's on a search for this necklace so he can go back to sleep.
I guess. Yeah.
Well, I think
No,
that's,
I don't think it's to go back to sleep.
what's it to do?
I think that's his necklace, and that's the necklace that that's his necklace that his mother gave him, and he wanted his necklace. I don't think finding the necklace puts him back. Like, I didn't see that connection. It could be. But
Okay, but I
didn't see
mean,
that
maybe
connection.
somebody has to put him back with that necklace.
the-
I don't
that
think
the
he wanted
ranger
to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. But the
'Cause
ranger was saying,
Because the ranger said that's the only ground that can hold him.
right.
In like some
It's like
kind
hallowed ground or
Right.
something.
or something
for
like
that.
if you can get him there, bury him again, then
And you have to leave the locket with him.
and then you have to leave
Right.
the locket above him or something
Right.
like that.
I mean, okay, so that's all. They set those
Yeah.
rules. Those rules are set.
I
I mean, they're set. I mean, it's a backstory to who this person Johnny is and why he's who he
sure.
is, and the ranger who ends up getting killed knew him.
Yeah.
I thought the first hunter, he goes in that first house and he sees that mirror and it explains the dad says, "Here's
Yeah,
the."
he gets some kind of
And
like remembrance.
I don't know
from
if
the
that
mirror.
hunter was related in some way. I couldn't. That's what I mean about a little bit arbitrary things just happen for.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, I think this is sort of based on Friday the 13th Part 2,
Okay.
which is the one where Jason wasn't
When
in the
Jason
first
comes
one.
back.
Exactly. He's actually
So Jason was this adult in the second one with the mask. That's So this is sort of an homage to that film.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Meaning somebody that got killed as a baby comes back as this lurching monster that can't be stopped. I couldn't wait to watch this because of that aesthetic. And literally there are so many scenes from behind him walking. Now, I didn't mind it. It drove Maria crazy. I actually got into the rhythm of because this very specific rhythm, the crunching of the way he walks.
Like, okay.
If you come home tired from work, you don't want to watch this film because it'll put you to sleep.
And it's just, again, wasn't it Jason breathing through the mask that you would hear when he was walking up on people? You would hear the...
I guess,
like,
or the
there was
sound
one
effects.
of them
I don't know
that
if he
you
was
could hear
breathing.
people breathe. Yeah.
I mean, that's
I
a
don't
sound
know.
effect. I'm not sure it was somebody breathing.
Yeah.
No,
And
there was... Okay.
I was just going to say, another thing I found really kind of off-putting about this movie is there is literally no score. There is no soundtrack at all.
Right.
And the other
Part of the experiment.
And the other part of it was, I actually watched all the way through to the end, and there was a whole bunch of songs that were listed, but I cannot remember hearing any song other than the song about the black flies over the credits.
Well, they were playing.
Maybe there was a couple of songs
tape
like
cassette was playing that song when he got killed, right?
Okay, I guess that's.
They're playing music at the campsite. There was music being played.
I didn't even
I
hear that
barely
music.
noticed it. If
Oh,
there
didn't notice
that
any
cassette player was
music.
grrr, when he got killed. It was winding down because he was
didn't
the
even-
battery.
I didn't
That's
even
how
know
long
that.
he
I
was
was with- I'm
walking.
with
That
you.
the
I didn't-
battery was dying because after he. Yeah.
I didn't
okay.
even notice that.
So really, so that's what I mean. The I have to say, I walked away last night going, I wish I felt bad that I put this on the table for everybody. But then, as I thought about it and I read more about it, I really I'm enjoying the memory I had of the film. I actually think, and I liked the things that made it frustrating, the slowness, especially the scene in the lake, okay, where he goes underwater and just,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, things like that where the camera just stays. Now, I don't know, it was economy for price. This wasn't an expensive movie, like you said.
Yeah, I doubt it.
And they're being very economical about how they shot things, and things happen within the scene. The kills, you got to admit, the kills are pretty phenomenal.
I mean, yeah.
The one in particular, the yoga girl.
Like, I mean, there's always been a thing. Like, I've never been super into that stuff, like in the horror movies. And so, like, I watched that one and I was just like, come on, man. Like,
Yeah, but
just-
I mean, if the Terrifier 1, 2, and 3 supposedly
I haven't seen
that
any of
one
those.
matched what that goes on in those films.
yeah.
Okay, and a lot of those were homages to Friday the 13th.
Sure.
One in particular, the first guy who gets his, the mouth the head
like,
decapitation. from
his head gets sliced in half.
So I got into the aesthetic, and the ending was frustrating because it was just a rambling conversation about. I mean, it's supposed to relate to what we just saw and the dread you have waiting for, and that was part of the experiment again. Like that whole last 10 minutes, you're expecting to have him
Right.
jump out and do the thing that all these movies do, and it just never happens.
Yeah, and I mean, I
Just
kind
ends.
of like that part. I have to admit,
I really like that
when
part.
she got in the car, I hit the button to see how much time was left, and it was like 13 minutes left. I was like, how can there possibly be 13 minutes left? And
It's interesting. The movie we saw, Strange Darling, had that long chorus scene at the end too. And
Yeah.
it's like an interesting. That one had more tension because
Sure.
but there wasn't anything going on in that one either. I mean, really,
Well,
the
it
tension
all-
was,
at least had
you
the
were
visual-
You were expecting the cliche
Yeah.
of popping up, and I was expecting this guy,
Sure.
Johnny, to come lurching out of the. Even though they drove for 15 minutes, way far away from where he was.
I know.
And you were still expecting him to pop out. Tell me you weren't.
oh, sure, like there's
Okay.
the scene where the lady's putting the tourniquet on her leg, and she's just staring at the woods, and you're expecting to see the little eyeballs and the old
That's
fire
what I'm
mask.
saying. That's what I'm saying.
And here's my thing: is that like I understood that, and halfway through the movie, he's playing with a little toy car, right, and then all of a sudden his face comes into focus, and we get a very clear shot of his kind of mangled face, right. I thought at that point they were gonna do something different, like this movie was gonna take a hard left turn, and we were gonna see something really different, right?
Like what were we expecting?
I don't know, that like they'd make friends with him or something. I just something different, and it didn't happen. And it was like there were certain things that I liked that they tried. Like I like the following from behind. That was fine, but the lack of music really drained it for me.
That's so funny. It's interesting.
I didn't
Because we complain. You complain. Some people complain.
Yeah.
That the movie tropes are movie tropes.
Sure.
Like, yo, here we go.
Yeah.
The teenagers in the woods. The music comes up. Jump scare. Cat jump. Michael's going to be in the window. This is going to be in the window. And they played all that. But like even in the shot, they don't make a big deal out of it where she's taking the selfie.
Yeah.
And of the group. And you see them behind.
Yeah.
Him behind.
Yes.
Staring at them. Waiting. And then the next day, all you hear is somebody say, I know there was a face in the back, but it was probably a smudge or something. It's like incidental conversation. It's supposed to keep you a little bit in tune with what's going on, but really it's about what snippets he's hearing as he's walking by.
I thought it was an interesting idea. Like I said, truly doing it from the killer's perspective, like only hearing what he hears and things like that. It just didn't work for me.
Well,
just kind of fell a little flat.
Yeah.
And like,
I think that's fair.
It fell a bit flat for me. And like for me, the music is I think of that Michael Myers music, or even in Jason, whatever.
Yeah.
Like that adds to the tension.
I know,
and
but this was all nature. Nature. Now, nice, calm nature until when? When did the nature ratchet up? Do you remember?
Oh, when she was running away
When
from
she
him.
finally decided to run away.
Yeah. Which is by the other thing, I totally didn't understand why that other guy suddenly shows up behind him and starts yelling at him. He's murdered like 4 of your friends.
Yeah.
This was the same guy who couldn't shoot him.
Couldn't
the
chain him up.
Couldn't
chain him up.
Oh, yeah.
And then when he tried to hand the gun off,
in fairness to him, his dad died a year ago. That was the guy. That was the
I
killjoy
feel
of the
bad for
group.
him, but all of a sudden, he grew a set and he's like screaming. I'm like, whoa, where did
Well,
that
it's
come
funny.
from?
Ryan, the review, I'll get the guy's last name because this guy's good.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, that's the only jump scare in the movie." And it scared Johnny.
Right, yeah.
And that's why Johnny's reaction was so intense because he, what happens is this guy jump scares him. And immediately Johnny turns around, hits him in the head, splits his head, and then there's 10 minutes of him just
whacking away
at his body. And that's when she's running away.
But I also thought that it was a strong reaction because he distracted Johnny from the goal, which was the locket, because at that point he realized the girl had the locket on, and he's like, "Look what you've done!" And as he got so mad because now he had to walk for 10 miles.
It may have been, but I kind of go with this guy Ryan. Let me get his exact.
I know.
Let me get his exact.
Even the undead got to get tired.
Remember, he's a child. That's the other thing. He's a child. Holly could be easily scared, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it.
That's the other thing. If he's a 10-year-old child, why is he bigger than the men?
Ryan Hollinger.
So
check his stuff out. Ryan Hollinger
grew in death.
Well, again, that's Jason too. Jason died as a kid, comes back into as an adult, right? I mean, okay. So that's what I mean. These are cliches that you expect, and they're being called out now because this movie is so weird and different and playing with those expectations that you're questioning stuff. Well, I love the kills. And I'm not a big like torture, but these were interesting and I want to say funny. That one with the ranger on the log splitter was pretty. I mean, everything just took forever, and I think that's part of the frustration.
Well, I mean, I will say this: it's like I think it's an interesting idea. I think it was an interesting attempt and an experiment. It just didn't work, in my opinion. Like it just didn't work for me. I was just kind of I kept expecting there to be something more, something different
again,
and it never quite got there.
I understand, and yes, the ending was kind of expecting a little bit more, but again, it's flip-flopping expectations,
and I'm all for that.
And that will either work or it won't work, and I think for the most part, it probably didn't work for most people. Yeah. I would say, I'm going to say it half worked for me.
Okay,
and I appreciate, again, as a filmmaker, I appreciate what they were trying to do. I was trying to figure out, were they using drones when they were following him? Was it just somebody with a camera? Because there was a lot of following him.
Yes, there was.
And I said to Maria, man, the ADR guy that had to do all those footsteps. I hope he got paid by the footstep because there was a lot of them. And I like the scene in the lake. I just thought that was
the scene in the lake was great.
So what happens is two of the teenagers or two of the people or women kind of flirting with each other. You're getting a little bit of that. And you're seeing it from his perspective across the lake. Mm-hmm. And one of the girls jumps in. The other one's going up to go do her yoga. And then he just walks into the water, goes underwater, and it goes on for about 5 minutes, 4 minutes.
I don't think it's that long, but it's too long.
Now, we know he's not breathing. There's no breathing because he's dead. Mm-hmm. And the one girl is just swimming, lounging around, and there's just 2 quick shots of her screaming for a little bit and then gets pulled down and then ends up bobbing. She's gone. And then he heads up to the yoga girl and does that
whole
amazing, brutal kill.
Yeah.
I found it fun. And for me, aesthetically pleasing.
Okay.
And again, it's ridiculous when he's throwing the axes and he kills the guy with one shot. I mean, it's all the cliches. This super monster that's walking around.
Sure.
There were a lot of kills that were off screen too.
Mm-hmm.
The one hunter gets killed off screen. He gets caught in his own traps. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Nature's going to get you one way or another.
Well, I mean, even the ranger when they were having that argument with that like guy who lives there.
That's what
and he's like, "There's something in that woods you're gonna mess with one day."
Again, right on the nose.
Yeah,
right on
literally.
the nose.
But I mean, the neat thing about that was at least they paid that off later when we find out the ranger actually knew what was going on.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like. But
why would he go 3, 2, 1? I'm going to hand the gun over after standing over the body for 20 minutes because the guy wouldn't chain him up. 3, 2, 1. It's like there were cliches in there that.
Yeah, I mean, what I don't understand is like. So obviously, shooting this guy kind of incapacitated him for a couple of minutes.
It like stunned him. It was like a taser shot.
Right. So why don't you just pump him? Put a few more rounds in him.
But isn't that every movie you watch?
I guess that's true.
It's like it's everything. There has to be that. Otherwise, these movies would be over in 5 minutes.
Well, it's like I always like in these movies. There's the fire extinguisher. You see this a lot in movies where, and it makes perfect sense, right? There will be a sequence where a woman is being chased by a killer, a man, whatever, obviously bigger and stronger, and oftentimes she will whack him in the head with a fire extinguisher. And it makes perfect sense because fire extinguishers are heavy, but not so heavy a woman can't pick it up and swing it with some force, right? Guy gets cracked in the head, he's going down. The thing I never understood about that is, why not just give him 7 or 8 more whacks right there? He's going to try to kill you. Why always hit him one time and stun him for 30 seconds?
Well, that's like they always run into the house. Like they always run into the house instead of out of the
get
house.
it.
The shoe always falls off. The thing breaks.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's all cliches. What are you talking about?
I know. It feels like I feel like there have been movies. Like every once in a while, I'll see a movie where somebody does that, and then they just kill the person. I'm like,
well, they did that in Scream. I mean,
Right.
Scream.
Yeah.
She
Took
shoots
those
him.
tropes.
They always get up. She takes care of that because they're playing on that same trope you were just talking about.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what made Scream great. Is it like it took all of those tropes and it says we're gonna make fun of them, but we're also gonna deliver the goods.
I mean, have you ever just stubbed your toe on the side of your bed?
All the time.
Yeah, you go down for 10 minutes.
Well, I don't go down for 10 minutes.
I did.
I go down for
my feet are very sensitive, but yeah. I mean, the tropes are tropes. What's that? Somebody's phone?
It was him shaking his drink.
Oh,
I like to mix up my drink.
What's your favorite scene?
It was okay. Here's my problem. There was absolutely no suspense. So for
That's
a
true.
scary movie or even a mystery or anything, there was no suspense.
Not even the
building.
end. Not even the end.
Not
when
even the
when
end.
they're driving down.
At
You
the end,
didn't expect him to come out of there.
At the
out of the
very
woods?
end, I expected when she was doing the tourniquet, him to jump out.
So there was a little bit of suspense, but not during the main part.
But there was there was nothing to
again
make,
because it's from the killer's perspective.
Exactly. But and that's all wonderful, but it's not good for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, you have your movie with all your, beauty and lovely stuff, but there's no suspense to keep me watching.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing to make me connect to any one of those characters, even the killer. Like, I had absolutely no empathy for anyone.
Not even the final girl? You thought she was...
The final girl, I was like, so what if you live or die? Like, I did not care about
By the way,
any
the
of
woman
them.
that picks her up...
I had more empathy for the woman who picked her up.
You know who she was? She was in Friday the 13th Part 2. She was one of the...
Oh,
was
really?
she?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I was more afraid for her.
Yeah.
Like, I was afraid...
again...
She's
That
a
she
good
had
Samaritan.
stepped into it, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that she was going to get dragged
Yeah.
into the woods by
That's the only suspense
Johnny
in the
the
movie.
fireman.
That's the only suspense.
Yeah.
And I would say for me, my favorite part was the end, not just because it was over, but because it is this really long car ride and they're just going there. And you're expecting it to pop out, even though this guy is shambling at best, right? He's not he's not out there speed walking. And like you said, every minute they're driving away. That's another quarter of a mile to a half mile. That it's going to take that guy an hour to catch up.
Right.
And
he was physical. There was no supernatural. He wasn't just going to pop up in places.
Yeah, he wasn't like
he was
teleporting.
walking everywhere.
I mean, beyond
Walking
his
everywhere.
Which
invulnerability.
was also part of my problem, is that he was walking the exact same speed everywhere he went.
He sped up a little.
So
yeah.
he never really, like, at some points in like Friday the 13th, Jason, you'll feel the momentum moving,
yeah.
and the momentum never changed.
Isn't that the
Ever
point,
changed.
though? The point is it's just this lurking, it's like It Follows, this just slow, unstoppable machine that's eventually going to get what it needs. Even though people, like, why didn't they all just run away anyway? When they were on the
tried.
four-wheelers and the cars, just go to the cops. Why didn't she, like, why is she standing there so long while her buddy's there getting his head beat in 12,000 times, and she's just standing there staring at it?
I think she was afraid that if she made a noise, she would become his
Next.
target.
Yeah.
And that's why she takes off the thing very slowly, leaves it on the gas can, and then slowly, very slowly starts to back away. And when she gets a little distance, she turns and then she just
runs.
hauls ass.
Yeah, I wonder what that plan was with the gas can. Were they going to try to trap him and burn him?
I think
or
they
what?
were going to
think
try
that-
to burn him.
Burn him,
Yeah.
But she couldn't do it alone, so she
Yeah.
put the locket there, knowing that from what the ranger told him, that's what his
I mean,
ultimate
that's what he was
goal
looking for.
Nobody in these movies ever makes a good decision.
No,
I mean, that's the whole point.
Well, I mean, I think
point.
also part of it is that, it's the terror, I mean, your mind isn't working right, but you're right. They don't make good decisions on purpose, like for the plot. If you had a bunch of like smart, unbelievably level-headed like Navy SEALs, they would have taken this, like they would have at least entrapped this guy because
Right.
they're used to like, working under pressure.
That's the movie we should do. Navy SEALs in the woods.
Navy SEALs
With
versus
some unstoppable. Yeah. See how
Navy
long that
SEALs
takes.
versus Jason. That would probably make a lot of money. Like it probably would.
But it's like Jean-Claude Van Damme as an ex-soldier, like a guy, his soldier character that he did, that Universal Soldier.
Yeah, I
Unstoppable,
remember
whatever.
Universal Soldier.
Or somebody that,
That was a great
could be
movie.
a little bit of a challenge for these
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
So
What
yeah,
you do
I-
is you get Charlie Sheen and Michael Biehn and all those guys from that
Same
Navy
crew?
SEAL-
At
from
their
the
age
Navy-
now?
Yeah,
a
Great.
reunion.
Yeah, think about it. Like all these old.
That's how you do it. A
dudes.
little SEALs reunion.
Yes,
But they don't have they're a little slower on the skill.
exactly. Well, that's the point. That would make it more even than them fighting a psycho killer.
Yeah. Your
telling
face,
you that
your
would-
face is telling it.
That would make money.
well,
I know.
We'll
I
shoot
know.
it on video.
Listen, I appreciate you guys sitting through this film.
Yeah.
I'm not
So-
going to get this one on later.
So do you think that like he made this one like so thinking about the 4-3, do you think he was like trying to throw back to videotape?
I think
Like in the sense that
Yeah,
the
I
vast majority of people are going to see this at home on their television. They weren't going to
but
see this in the
nobody
movie.
ever nobody cares about that. Nobody's going to say, "Oh, this is I recognized
do.
it." Yeah.
You do.
I don't know. That's an interesting question.
But don't
Why? What's the point of that?
Yeah, but filmmakers love to put little tiny things in their movie that only hardcore
Yeah, but
cinephiles are going to get.
Yeah, but that's not a tiny thing.
It's not a tiny
The
thing,
four
but
by
like
three thing is not tiny, and the aesthetic wasn't. It was beautiful photography.
Yeah.
This has also been called a nature documentary with murders in there because it is some beautiful nature.
I don't know
shots.
about that.
Especially the end. The end when everything supposedly is done, and the fog is on the lake, and everything's back to normal.
There are some beautiful shots.
He goes back to sleep, and everything nature's settled.
well, we think.
Now listen, they might do a sequel.
We don't know. That's just.
I mean,
and that's
that-
the way. I mean, that's the way they always end too. They leave it ambiguous.
Of course,
so that they
of course.
can do the
they all. I
sequel,
mean,
so.
listen, of course, but that slow pan over the red gas can. Oh, look,
It's gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we don't know what happens.
but
We don't know
you
if
don't
he goes back to sleep.
you don't think
or-
this
Right.
would be a good a Halloween costume, Johnny's costume?
Johnny's costume would be good.
No.
I mean,
No?
it would be fine. No one would know who you were.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just don't think
I think
there's
that's
anything
cool.
defining about it.
What are you talking about?
But nobody would be like,
fire
"Hey, you're
mask thing.
Johnny."
Like if you, I guess if you got the fire mask.
Yeah,
part.
you didn't-
I
you
was
would need
thinking
the
about like
fire
his
mask.
actual face all mangled.
I mean, he does look like Jason with the
Yeah, I mean-
flannel shirt all torn up, and
yeah,
there was you notice there were bullet holes in the back of
yeah.
his shirt, so that's from
Well, I mean,
previous.
He's obviously been shot. I
Yeah.
mean, they shot him a couple, 3 times
Yeah.
in this movie.
Yeah. So, All right, ratings.
1.
I give it. I'm sorry.
It was just too long. Like every shot was too.
No, you know, it's funny.
long.
It's funny you say that because we put it up and we go, oh, look, it's only 90 minutes. This is going to be great.
I thought the same
it's like,
thing.
It's like,
It was-
whoa, it feels like the walk felt like 90 minutes.
The walk. It was just too. Like I said, it did some built suspense because and he's walking. And he's walking. And he's walking.
I'm walking
and
here.
He's walking. Oh,
I'm
there we
walking
go.
here.
Oh, look, he's going to kill her. Oh, they're killed. Okay. And now he's walking.
Yeah.
It's
They're
just,
dead now.
and even the monologue at the end. You
Yeah.
know, her whole story about her brother getting mauled by a bear.
But
'cause
was
the
it a bear
had the
or was that
wild
Johnny?
disease and,
Or is she just saying that nature is unpredictable?
Whatever. You know, again, the monologue went on too long, or I just couldn't get a connection back to what its purpose was, what it was teaching us or telling
Yeah, I
us.
mean,
it
I
was just
can't deny
another
that.
illustration of
Yeah, I'd pretty
all the
much
loggers
checked.
died 10 days later, you know.
I had pretty much checked out by the time she was talking about her brother and the bear. And
Yeah,
all
I was
that
just looking to
stuff.
see if he wrote it too, because writers like to really, you know, they love dialogue.
And I like dialogue.
I know you do.
I like
I know
when
you
do. Yeah.
when it's told through dialogue, and that I guess maybe that's part of my problem too. There's what dialogue they had. I'd say 80% of the dialogue they had was stupid.
Oh, the kids' dialogue
The
was
kids'
dumb.
talk- you know, it wasn't even like-
I know, that's true.
you
That's
know,
true.
I couldn't. That's why I had no empathy for him because nothing.
For who?
They,
The kids?
The kids.
Well,
go
they-
ahead and
they-
die.
They were
you know,
supposed
there
to.
was
They
no-
were supposed to be.
Yeah, they were
animals.
completely
But-
disposable.
They weren't. I don't know.
We don't even have a chance to like them or dislike them.
Right.
You don't hate them right from the get-go?
I mean,
No.
you hate
Why
them
would I
just
hate them?
generally.
Because they were talking about your ring doesn't fit your peen. I mean,
That's
they-
kids, the way kids
That's
talk. I mean, that
dumbass.
did, and I mean, it's stupid, but I didn't hate them for it. I thought that's a bunch of kids getting high, talking. She's cracking
Oh,
on.
wow. I didn't
she's,
like
you
them
know,
right from the get-go. I want them
know.
all to get. The yoga girl, I think she probably got a little brutalized more than she needed to be. She seemed like a decent human being.
The only one who I really developed a dislike for was the guy who was like, and his father died, and I don't care.
Well,
you know,
he-
that
he
guy.
got it.
And
He
who
was the first
threw
kill.
the keys away so they couldn't get in the
No,
car.
that
when
was
they wanted to
Troy.
go
That
get-
was the girl. That was the boyfriend of the one he gave the necklace to. That was Troy. Yeah.
Oh, wait. Is the boyfriend of the girl?
Yep.
I didn't like him.
Yeah. No, he was a dick.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
like him.
he was awful.
I
He
didn't,
was a
and
dick.
that's the one.
He
she
was the one
making fun
complaining
of
about
his
the guy
size.
whose father died.
Right,
He was
that's what I
complaining. He was
said.
an asshole.
Right.
And yeah,
And
that's
he's
the
the only
one
one
you
I
think you'd be
hated.
rooting. Yeah. Interesting.
And I was just like, good, he's gone.
Now the douche with the cassette deck. I mean, that's the other thing. They're playing with. They're playing with when it takes place because
I didn't
he's
even-
rocking a cassette deck.
Totally
Oh,
did not
yeah.
even pick up.
Well,
the
she
cassette
goes,
deck.
look at your cassette deck. They're going to think you're in the future. She says about the gas
Yeah.
gas station girls.
I
Yeah.
heard her say that, but I did not see the cassette deck.
Oh, he was wearing it on his thing when he got. Yeah,
Was he wearing a Walkman? What was
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
it was
like,
a
what
Walkman.
it was okay. I did
yeah.
not even.
But there's,
that's the one.
see
Two
that.
songs in the movie. One was from his cassette.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
totally.
to
didn't-
me, that's the way kids mess with kids. Like, I mean, that to me was, yeah, it was stupid, but it was nothing to make me dislike them more than I would. You know, it's just what they do.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I thought they were all jerks.
Oh, they were.
They were, but
I mean, no jerkier than any other.
yeah, then no
That's
jerkier
the
than any other.
point.
Exactly, which made
That's
it
the
so that I
point.
didn't care if they lived or died.
Yeah.
Right. You
But-
want them to die.
No, I
but
didn't
you're-
want them to die. I didn't care
You
that they died. That there's a difference.
yeah,
Oh, that's
and
true.
and there's supposed to be at least a couple of people you're rooting for.
At least one.
At least
Even
one.
the final girl, I was just like, okay, so she lived.
Whatever.
You know,
Good for her.
big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with a 1 too. I did not.
Wow.
Really care
Okay.
for this
I'm
picture.
gonna rock your world.
What are you gonna?
I'm gonna go with a 3.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, you think I'm gonna go to a 5 on this
I
one?
didn't-
I don't
Or
know.
four.
You
I was
say
worried
rock
about
my
the
world.
floor.
No,
I
look,
was like,
I
oh.
get
I
it.
was
I
like,
get
oh.
everything you're saying.
Yeah.
I really do. But I have to admit, and part of it is doing some research on the film after I watched it last night. That was on my way to work, not actually in work. On my way to work, I did the research on the train. Just so let's get that clear. And I kind of liked a couple of things. One guy said he was at the screening of this, and this guy Chris Nash kind of came off like a douche, like he was. All the questions you'd expect him to go, yeah, I did that on purpose. I wanted it to be vague because I'm trying to make a point that these things are vague. And I like that attitude because it's, you know, I probably would hate him if I met him because I would catch that vibe. And if you, I don't know if you remember, but that screening we went to with that one kid, that one person that won.
Oh, the hook.
I'm like,
Howard
oh
County,
my
yes.
God, this guy's going to be
Yes.
insufferable. It's
Yes.
probably going to be this guy, right? But
Yeah.
I do like what he did. I
Yeah.
appreciate what was going on. I like the perspective from the killer. They've done that in a couple other movies. This one played it maybe a little too much walking. But I have to say, I appreciated the chance. I appreciated the effort that they did, and as a character, I don't know why this kind of look wouldn't catch on as a Halloween costume, because I thought it was kind of cool,
Well, I think it's
especially with the extra stuff he had
well.
hanging on him.
I think that that has potential.
Right.
It's just like, the whole masks of Jason and Michael and all them. It has potential. But again, I didn't have any empathy even for him to care about, like, oh, his story didn't, touch me.
You didn't
in
feel
any way,
emotional that they took
or
his
it didn't,
his mother's necklace away?
No.
And
or dislike him that much either.
Right.
It's like, okay, I get it. I get why you're killing people. But, whereas some of the others, like Michael Myers, you're just like, he's frightening because he has no soul. This guy didn't. That's not the case here. He kind of has a soul, but
but he's doing the
whatever.
same thing. He's just unrelenting.
Yeah, but it's I can't work up any kind of anything for him.
Yeah, it's so maybe like the scene. Get back to the scene with the ranger getting killed. First, he snaps his spine so that he's completely.
He can't move.
He can't move.
Oh,
But
that's the one he puts in the wood chopper thing?
Yeah, but he's aware.
woodcutter?
Yeah.
Right, he's aware. And that whole thing where it's like, oh, let's show what the wood chipper does. And they put the log in
Yeah.
and the thing slowly cranks down there, cuts the log. Okay, that's horrible. Is he doing that for that guy or for us? Like, that guy's already, he's still alive.
Yeah.
Right.
And what's
Then
the
he
point
put-
of lopping off his arm first?
Yeah, I
I
didn't
think
get that
he was
either.
If
I
he's
thought-
already snapped his spine.
I think he
and
was
can't-
just enjoying because his father tried to kill him. This
yeah.
guy tried to kill him. He was just enjoying the thing, and he had nothing but time. And at that, why those kids didn't get the frick out of there and call somebody? It's like, because that whole time that's going on, they could have got out of there, but
they just didn't have. I think it came down to they didn't actually have access to a vehicle.
yeah, but just run in the woods, get the hell out of
Well,
there.
that's what they did, and they got the fire to
But
set them on fire if they needed to.
right. Oh, I thought they were setting
so
a
they were
trap.
gonna
They
set
were
a
But
trap.
specifically-
one of the things I did like, I will say this, in that whole way too long sequence where she's running, and she falls
Yeah.
and hurts her leg and all that
Oh,
stuff. I did like the feeling. The one thing I did like about that is when you're in the woods at night and you're running like that, you really don't know if you're just running in circles.
Well, she
Right.
was, because you could hear the thumping the whole time.
You
You kept
never.
hearing the thump. Him
Yeah.
still working on that guy.
But you were
Really?
never
Yeah,
sure.
oh,
I
yeah.
didn't hear that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't hear that at all.
either.
Watch
I
it
just-
again.
No, thanks.
No, thanks.
that's
Will that
all-
raise
I'll
it up
ta-
to a 1.5 or
I'll take
2?
your word for it.
No, definitely. You could. She would stop, and you'd still hear he's still like pounding. Oh,
wow.
Yeah. Which told me that she was running in circles, and finally, we never see her hurt her leg. They've cut to black, and then we wake up, and she wakes up, and she's got the thing in her
the
leg.
thing sticking out.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you see her trip. Okay.
Right.
I mean, I'll give it to you because I will.
By that time, you
admit,
were out. You
I
were
was
like,
not.
I can't watch any more walking. I'm done with the walking
Yeah, I
already.
kept calling him Forrest Gump,
Yeah, she did. She's like, Forrest Gump.
but he's walking instead of running.
Oh, but okay.
Gotta get back
Okay,
to
you guys,
the-
but it's still a pretty decent. I think you got to give the movie a shot.
I gave it a shot.
I'm not saying you. I'm saying our the 3 people that watch us, 15, 20 people that
There's
watch
like
us.
40.
Okay, I think they should give it a shot because it's kind of an interesting. It is an interesting experiment.
I mean, I
And-
think
and
if you
you take away different meanings from
sure,
it, if you want,
and if you like slasher films, I'm sure you'll get a lot more out of it than I did.
Yeah.
As far as horror movies go, we talked about it a couple weeks ago or whatever. I'm not a huge slasher guy,
right.
so thanks for making me watch this slasher movie.
I
I mean,
made
I
you.
don't mind
I gave you
it.
my account.
I mean,
I'm
I'm not
kidding,
a
I'm
slasher,
kidding.
but I don't mind a slasher. Like
Yeah.
I like Friday the 13th.
Did you like Cabin in the Woods?
Yeah, but Cabin in the Woods isn't a slasher movie.
What are you talking about?
Cabin in the Woods?
Yeah, where the zombies come out and they're killing everybody, and
Cabin in the Woods is the one about if we don't appease the old
yeah,
gods.
that one. You don't call that a slasher film?
No.
What is that then?
I mean, it's a horror movie, but it's got all these different kinds. It's got space monsters and eldritch
Okay, they got a
horror
zombie in there that's slashing people.
Yeah.
Oh, so specifically, it's not a slasher. It's a
No, and plus
it's got
it's
more.
also kind of a spoof of the whole thing. You know, it's a send up. Of
yeah,
all of-
I know, of course. It's
Yeah.
you're flipping the tropes upside down, and
yeah, and it's like
you're showing the curtain behind the trope.
right,
Yeah.
and it's like all these guys are betting on them and stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. What's the last slasher we saw? Then I don't. Well, I don't know. Yeah.
I mean,
All I know is I saw the original Friday the 13th
Mm-hmm.
when it premiered on Friday the 13th and whatever
wow.
year it came out. Okay.
wow.
And the very first scene where that woman gets her head, she gets the knife across the thing, was mind blowing. Mind blowing. And to see where it's come now and what
Right.
they have to do to get your mind to be blown is like when he pulled the yoga girl, their head back through her torso. It's like, oh, that's mind blowing. I gotta say, that's very creative.
I guess I'm just so jaded at this point because I saw the first Halloween and the first Friday the 13th in the movie theaters right when they were released, and it was just like, oh my God, the kills were like whoa, and they were so gory to me, and at this point. It was almost ridiculous to me. It was the final part where he's like turning her inside out almost. I'm like, okay, now you've turned the corner from being ew to that's just
Well,
silly.
I understand, but we're talking about when Halloween came out in '78,
Right.
And frankly, the kills in Halloween were not. There was way more suspense in that
Right,
than there was
right.
gore.
That's
Friday
right.
the 13th was pretty
Gory.
gory.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
I think
it
Tom
is.
Savini did those.
That's the one where Kevin Bacon's like on the bed.
The
that comes
arrows
up
through the
from-
neck,
yeah.
all
Yeah.
the stuff that they
Yeah.
kind of created in there was used
Yeah.
over and over and over. And the Friday the 13th perfected the sleeping bag murders and the
Yeah.
Yeah.
they tried all kinds of stuff. So to see where you've come from, what you expect from 1978 to 2024, I mean, it hasn't. I mean, it's obviously the technique has become more perfected.
Mm-hmm.
They can make stuff look that scene where that yoga girl's getting is pretty graphic and pretty realistic in the sense that things were happening. I'm not saying it's a good.
No, it
you
is,
didn't like
right.
it, but that's fine. But from a technical standpoint, it's pretty wild what they were doing in there.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So anyway, does that raise it up from a 1 to a 2?
No.
The kills? Okay.
No.
If you had to rate the kills, would they be a 3?
Well, I'm going to throw this out here. The only kill, the yoga girl kill, is the one, in my opinion, that's really one that's only really truly unique. You know,
Well, you didn't think the lake one was unique?
he
Jaws.
drowns her.
Okay. All right.
Woman swimming alone.
Don't
in
bring
the
up
water,
Jaws.
gets
You know
pulled-
that's a sore
I know.
subject. Why
but
would you do
She
that?
gets pulled under the water. She comes up, says help, gets pulled
Why
down
would
again,
you? I
and
don't
is
understand.
killed.
Yeah, I mean that one
Exactly
I
like the opening
that.
of Jaws.
Let me put it this way: I like that one more than a lot of them because it was kind of cool. It was like so quiet. You don't see anything.
You had a tad of suspense because you knew he was under the water.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
Right. It's the bomb under the table.
But like
It's
for
Hitchcock.
like
very
I mean,
Hitchcockian.
you know, one guy. I mean, he took out like 3 or 4 people with his little axe, and I mean, I guess he took the big rock and like completely imploded that dude's head. That was kind of funny.
That was pretty good.
Yeah,
that
that
was
was
Troy,
pretty-
by the way. Troy deserved that.
Oh yeah, he was the
Troy
uber
was-
ass
He was
of,
the
of the
jerk.
group. You know,
He was the one that, the only one that I was
Yeah,
just like,
he got
oh,
what he got.
I
what
don't
he
like
deserved.
you.
yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, good rating. So you won 1, 3. That's 4 divided by 3. What's that?
No,
1
1, and 3. You gave it a 3 or a 2?
I said 3.
He gave
Okay,
it
so it's a
3.
5 divided by 3 gives you a
1.75.
1.75 maybe? I don't know.
Something like that.
All right. Well, 1.75. Everybody, I think you're going to catch this film. It's streaming on Shudder. Maybe Chris will hand you his account. Oh wait, no, don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't do that. We frown upon that.
that is not good.
All right. Well, good one. Halloween's almost here.
That's true.
These were fun. I'm doing one next week with our old friend Sean.
Nice.
We're gonna do. We're
Is he
gonna
coming
talk-
to the lounge?
He's gonna come to the
Nice.
lounge. We're gonna talk about Kolchak,
Kolchak.
Oh, the Night Stalker.
the Night Stalker,
Yeah.
the vampire one,
Yeah.
the one that was on TV.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
Yeah,
I
that
don't
one. The movie, the TV movie. We're not going to talk about the series.
Oh,
We're
there's
gonna
a
talk about
TV movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the
Okay.
TV movie
Scared the
spawned
shit out of me
right?
when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I watched the TV movie.
It's
and
the
then we
movie
watched
that
series.
the movie that turned him into a series.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So it's like a
what it
pilot
started
film.
with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a
Yeah.
thing. Okay.
So Sean and I are going to talk about that one next week.
Neat.
I don't know what drink Maria's going to pull for that one, but that's going to be fun.
There's all kinds of vampire drinks out there.
Really? Okay. So
Cool.
all right. Well, this was a fun run, and
Awesome.
we'll do some more after this. I like these. We watch new films.
It's fun to watch a new
Yeah,
film.
Maria and I still have to do Some Like It Hot.
Yes,
We got to get
that's
back to the wheel.
Maria movies Maria missed. Oh, but I did want to say one thing to throw out to the viewers out there. Maxine that we did back in the theater
Right.
is now on HBO, or what is now known as Max.
Yeah.
So if you didn't watch our episode because you didn't want to spoil it, you can now see it and then come back and watch our
Watch
episode.
this,
Very good.
watch
Good
the
point.
episode. Maxine with 3 X's.
Yeah.
That's a great. I really enjoyed that
Yeah,
film,
Maxine was good.
and it was a great conversation too.
Did you see X?
I saw X.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
let me borrow X. I haven't
Is
seen
X
Pearl.
a slasher film?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is.
That's
and
the
then-
last slasher film I saw then was X.
Yeah.
yeah. X is a slasher
A
film.
true slasher film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, X.
And then
X did
Pearl
a-
was the origin,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pearl was the
I haven't seen Pearl.
prequel
To
to
the
X.
old lady X. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I liked X because it had that kind of fun Texas Chainsaw Massacre 70s
Well, it had a
vibe.
totally 70s
It
did.
aesthetic.
It
That's what
really,
it was-
really did.
That's an aesthetic that worked. That's,
Yeah.
Ty
Yeah,
West.
agreed.
Ty West
right.
does a good job.
Yeah,
at-
he did a good job.
Right. So, all right.
Okay.
Thanks
Cheers.
for coming.
Cheers, everybody.
1, 2,
Woo.
3.
Yay.
Happy Halloween.
Happy
Yes,
Halloween.
happy Halloween.